In the 41st millennia, humanity stands on the brink of annihilation. The galaxy-spanning Imperium of Man is bested on all sides by hostile aliens and threatened from within by traitors and heretics. It is an age of constant war, a new dark age in which enlightenment is replaced by superstition, rhetoric, and blind prayer. To live in such times is to be one amongst untold billions, existing in the cruelest and bloodiest regime imaginable. The most powerful and dreaded of the Imperium's defenders are the Space Marines, bioengineered superhuman warriors. They are humanity's last bastion against the terror. There is no time for peace, no respite, no forgiveness. In the grim darkness of the far future, there is only war. Kadaku, Sector MX-44219M-AE, the Imperial-held Residius system. The planet Kadaku came under attack by a threat named the Tyranids. Many smaller ships were seen entering the orbit of Kadaku, followed by a much larger mothership, as the Marines on the planet could only stand and watch as the planet was quickly taken over. Plans and preparations were being made to counteract this invasion in the background. However, this planet was targeted for a reason. This was because of something called Project Aurora. What is Project Aurora, you ask? Well, we'll find out a bit later. The urgency of Project Aurora was absolute, with the defenders of humanity being required to assist in the fight-back effort. An encrypted message was issued to a heap of forces, but leaving anything to do with Project Aurora out of it. Fast forwarding to day 2 of the invasion at 0900 hours, a squad answered an encrypted message, the Death Watch kill team, Primus. The objective was to deploy a viral incendiary bomb and defend the Aurora facility. As the team entered the planet's atmosphere, they came under heavy fire by the Tyranids, and eventually they were smothering the ship. The team did all they could to fend them off before all hangar doors were pulled off, and one Marine in particular was sent flying out the side of the ship, crash-landed himself on the planet. The kill team leader was on his own, signaling to his team if they had the virus bomb. The team were unable to hear his transmission over the Vox, but the ship crash-landed and they were fighting back against heavy invasion. However, the team continued with the plan, launched the bomb into the stratosphere and watched the Tyranids burn. Hormagaunts were smothering the area as the kill team leader made his way to the crash site, finding 2 of his squad mates and brothers dead to the Tyranids. The kill team leader takes the virus bomb and moves to the orbital launcher, watching yet another one of his brothers die at the hands of the Tyranids. The further the kill team leader got through the world, the more of his brothers he found laying dead. The kill team leader decided to leave a recording log. He explained that his kill team crash-landed off course and was slain. This bomb will disperse all of the Tyranids' positions, leaving them weakened and killing them off. The bomb was loaded into the launcher and an activation command was required. The kill team leader made his way to try and activate the console and all systems awoke from hibernation. However, whilst waiting for this to happen, he had a bit of company from the Tyranids. The kill leader needed to defend the area and wait for the hibernation process to awaken. It was finally done, and the bomb was launched into the stratosphere. The kill leader continued to fend off against the Tyranid forces before being thrown into a pit to fend for himself with nothing but a pistol. He removes his helmet and is ready to fight to the death. Here we learn of the kill leader's name, Titus. He fought and fought against the hordes of enemies, blood covering his armor, before eventually becoming overrun and stabbed in the stomach. Just as he thought it was all over, gunshots from the distance, the beast dropped him and Titus passed out. Titus woke on a bed with an armoured marine stood beside him. The wound he suffered was fatal, however Titus managed to survive through something called Rubicon surgery, which completely remade him. He is now a Primaris. Titus asked why him, and he was told that Lord Calgar issued the command himself. But he was gone, summoned by the Primarch, so Titus couldn't ask any further questions. Titus's first thought was getting back to the Watch, which was a chapter he was a part of just before this. This figure named Chaplain said he'd been reassigned. Titus has always been a part of the Death Watch. He was leading his squad for over a century. However, this was all about to change. An organisation named the Inquisition found him. The Inquisition is a secret organisation that exists outside of the standard administrative hierarchy of the Imperium of Man. The Inquisition acts as a secret police force and primary intelligence service of the Imperium, hunting down any and all of the myriad threats to the stability of the God Emperor's realm, from the corruption caused by the forces of chaos, heretics, mutants and rebels, to assaults from vicious alien species like the Tyranids, the Orcs. Titus has been accused of heresy, which is why he's here, why he was saved. Titus must prove himself to the Inquisition to show he is not a heretic. Titus goes through the initiation process and becomes a Space Marine.
My honor is my life.
What is your fate?
My duty is my fate.
What is your fear?
My fear is to fail.
What is your reward?
My salvation is my reward.
What is your craft?
My craft is death.
What is your pledge?
My pledge is eternal service.
The Rubicon surgery has remade Titus as a Primaris Marine, a new breed of transhuman warriors developed across the span of 10,000 standard years. Titus is now stronger, faster, and more resilient. Titus's brothers will know he served the Death Watch, but his dishonourable status as a Black Shield has been redacted from the archives. Look, before we go any further, I think we need to understand a couple of things. What is a Black Shield, and why has Titus been labelled a heretic? Demerium Titus is a former firstborn captain and commander of the Ultramarines' 2nd Company, and later a Primaris Marine Lieutenant of the same company who he fought for the Imperium of Man more than 200 Terran years ago. His exploits earned him a reputation as one of the greatest heroes of the Ultramarines, despite his relative youth by the standards of an Adeptus Astartes. He was already a decorated veteran of several major campaigns waged across the galaxy by his former chapter. One of Titus's last known campaigns before his disappearance occurred upon the Forge World of Graia, where he helped launch a successful defense from an assault by an Orc Wag, led by the war boss Grimskull, and then a subsequent Chaos invasion led by the Chaos sorcerer Nemeroth and his chosen Nemeroth warband of heretic Astartes, showing an unnatural affinity to shrug off attackers made using the powers of the warp by the forces of Chaos during the defense of Graia. Titus was taken into custody on suspicion of heresy by the Inquisition after the end of that campaign, which was Space Marine 1. Subsequently, he vanished from all official Imperial records for almost a standard century. Now for the Deathwatch Black Shield. A Deathwatch Black Shield, or simply a Black Shield, is a rare Space Marine who has severed all bonds with his former military unit, referred to as chapters, and has purposely obscured his military unit's heraldry. In effect, the Battle Brother is abandoning his chapter through self-imposed exile. He then presents himself before a Watch Command, a senior ranking officer of the Death Watch, in order to petition for admittance to the Death Watch. What little passes between the Watch Commander and the supplicant is kept forever secret between them, but it is uncommon for the Black Shield to reveal more than bare details other than his name and basic training. The motivations for petitioning to join the ranks of the elite Death Watch are many and varied, for no two supplicants share the same reasoning for taking up the Black Shield. One universal trait is clear amongst the Black Shield: a fierce determination to expunge the sins of their past through service in the Death Watch. The Black Shield then devotes his life to serving the Death Watch and completing his own personal redemption, so that perhaps at some point he will consider himself worthy of bearing his chapter badge again and even returning to his home chapter once more. Look, I hope this helps with the understanding ever so slightly. However, I'll be doing dedicated videos on Titus, the Death Watch, the Black Shield, and much other things after this one. So be sure to be on the lookout for those. Subscribe to keep up to date with that. Titus made his way to the bridge and reported to Captain Acheran. Acheran had reservations around Titus's reinstatement, but overlooked that. He explains the situation to Titus. There are currently 2 planets infested with Tyranids: Avarax, which was a hive world, and Kadaku, which we already know all too well about. The decision has been made to abandon Kadaku, as it mostly consists of Adeptus Mechanicus research facilities. They're excavating critical assets and personnel as we speak, so that planet isn't a necessity right now. There are, however, a series of defense guns helping our evac ships safely get in and out with this information. Tyranids have taken note, so we need to get down there and protect the guns as quickly as possible. Captain Acheran, however, takes an already existing squad and gives the command of it to Titus. This squad, however, belonged to a Sergeant Gadriel. He didn't take it gracefully to begin with, but of course he had no choice but to get on with it. Another squad member came in named Charion and assembled to the ship. Another squad member, Charion, came and assembled the ship on the flight deck. The Cadians have lost control of the orbital guns, and our task is to get down there and secure them ourselves. There are of course some hostility and tension within the squad, with Gadriel noticing he served the Death Watch, and the service duds in his face, showing that Titus was in fact over 200 years old. The squad is piecing together that Titus couldn't have been born a Primaris. Curiosity already settling in. The Marines on the ground were holding out as long as they could until the Space Marine arrived to take back the guns. It was throughout this section of the game we learnt more around the Tyranids. The Tyranids, compared to the other Xenons, are an unrelenting plague. They are cunning, and the controlling influence of their hive mind makes them act as one. They will have one singular being that controls their every move and action, which is how they can attack in unison in such high numbers. The squad and the Marines fight through the hordes of Tyranids and reach the command centre for the AA guns. The Tyranids will throw everything they have at the facility when they know the weapons are online, and the collective hive mind will plot this as well. The team finally get the weapons up and running and take fire at one of the motherships situated in the atmosphere of the planet, taking it out for good. Titus and the squad returned back to the ship, and there met with another squad that accompanied them on that mission. Lirio lost a brother, Elion. They got separated, and by the time they slain the attackers, he was dead. Something put a hole clean through his helmet. Charion fought with Elion for 2 decades. There's no way something such as a Hormigan would have killed him like that. On the way to meet Captain Acheran, Gadriel and Charion started to question Titus's service record, before it cut to us arriving at the bridge. The captain gave us information on someone called Nozick Beta 12, a Mechanicus Archmagos, who should have been aboard this ship an hour ago, but he refused to leave Kadaku without some data from his lab. He's currently situated in an Imperial Guard base, and his facility is a fair distance away from that. Our mission? Get the data and get him out. The captain gives Titus 3 additional men to complete this mission, before they make their way out. We walk towards our ship to be greeted by a chaplain stood there. He reminded Titus that this mission is of great importance, and there is little to no room for error. He readies his squad and heads down to Kadaku. He speaks with Nozick as we get there, but he will not leave without his data. Titus makes his way to the facility. However, the Marines have lost 3 squads trying to reach the lab. Something's out there stopping them, and Titus found out very quickly what that thing was. This thing was called a lictor, a beast that could camouflage into its environment, killing most things that are not strong or witty enough to outsmart it. The teams fight through the hordes of enemies to transmit the data, and it was finally done. Once the data was transmitted, Nozick finally boarded the ship, and Lero's squad would take him back to the ship in orbit. But that ship was hit mid-air and crash-landed on the planet again. Titus and the team had to make their way to ensure the survival of Nozick and their brothers. Titus and the squad found an armory below with jump packs and made their way to the ship. However, when they got there, the ship was in ruins. The Marines were dead. The Space Marines, all dead. And Nozick, he was impaled by a piece of metal. Looked to be a purposeful death as well. On the ship, red markings. Something that Titus became curious about. As he approached the opening of the ship, suddenly became weakened. Something inside that ship was weakening Titus. Something was not right. Whoever did this was long gone, but this wasn't a random act. This was planned. Someone attacked and killed Nozick on purpose. The Marines brought something into the ship. This interfered with Titus, causing him to pass out. Titus awoke a short time later to Gadriel and Charion speaking about him, stating Titus is withholding information from them, asking where he served previously and why he's back in battle so soon after such a grievous surgery. Here they spoke about the Death Watch team that deployed the virus bomb on Kadaku, and that maybe Titus was a part of that squad. Titus, however, walks over to the two and orders them that they move to the bridge to speak with Captain Akaran. The 3 squad mates believe that this was the work of someone called the Archenemy. They choose to reveal their presence, and there must be a reason that they wanted Nozick dead. The team make their way to the bridge to speak to Akaran. Nozick was assassinated. The Archenemy also go by the name of the Traitors or Chaos. These are a metaphysical or psychic force embodied by the malevolent entities comprised of emotional energy in the Immaterium. The entities who embody chaos are mostly demons, but the term also encompasses those mortals who pursue the goals of chaos, ranging from simple peasants and or manufacturing labourers who serve as the chaos cultists, traitors, militarum, planetary militia, imperial nobles, planetary governors, or even the mighty chaos space marines, traitor titan legions, chaos knights, and dark mechanicum. When Akaram heard of the potential involvement of chaos, this changed things. He started to open up more. Nozick was a part of a highly classified project named Aurora. This was a weapon, and Chaos knows this. However, with Nozick now dead, there is only one man alive that continue his work. his old apprentice, Maurius Luz. He is currently missing, and his last known location was a facility on Avarax, one that is now overrun by Tyranids. The team must make their way down and activate Luz's tracker to find him. Before Titus left, however, he asked Akaran what was on the ship with Nozick. The mechanics seemed eager to retrieve it, yet the enemies left it untouched. Strange actions for sure. Titus, however, after his episode, promised Gadriel and Charion he'd complete a brief diagnostic to ensure he was fit to lead. So he headed to the armory, along the way encountering Chaplin. Chaplin also heard of his collapse and wants to ensure he's not going to be compromised and can fulfill his duties. Magod Gallio was the person who would complete the scan of Titus. Here is where he tells us more on the surgery that Titus underwent. He suffered catastrophic damage to a number of primary organs at the hands of the Carnifex. The operation he went through ripped him from head to foot. However, a scan was carried out on Titus whilst the ship was making its way to Avarax, and no issues were found, so the squad made their way down to the planet. There was a word written on the Thunderhawk carrying Nozick, and that was Imurah. Charion immediately shut down Gadriel when he mentioned this name. This was a being that was not to be reckoned with and should never be mentioned. The squad reached the command terminal, and there they prayed to the machine spirits and looked for the information. Here they attempt to locate Maurius Luz, and he's located in the temple of Thasian. However, before they left, Titus asked the machine spirit to open Project Aurora. Charion and Gadriel were concerned. However, when it was opened, it showed a picture of an artifact. Titus opened another subfolder named Reconstruction, showing the destroyed artifact now being pieced back together. This was a project overseen by the Adeptus Mechanicus, in which Nozick and Luz are one of. Titus tried to find out the current location of the artifact, however the whole system went into lockdown when the core was being overrun by Tyranids. The team fended them off and brought down the reactor, and now the team must move to extract. As they got back to the ship, Titus immediately went to the bridge to speak with the captain. Titus told the captain that the Adeptus Mechanicus were making a big mistake. Using this artifact to power the weapon has been seen before by Titus on a planet named Graia. A traitor by the name of Nemroth called it a fragment of the Dark God's power, and it almost destroyed the entire planet. Acheron then came back and said that the orders came direct from the Primarch. This was a non-negotiable, and in turn was making Charion and Gadriel concerned. As they made their way to the bridge, a heavily damaged ship crash-landed on the launch pad, whilst Titus and the squad readied themselves for their next mission. During their descent to the planet, the squad's Thunderhawk was hit, resulting in them needing to crash land on the planet a fair distance away from their destination. They helped a series of Marines fight back against the incoming hordes, and also met up with fellow brothers Varelius. He fought with Charion back in the day, saving his life, and the reason that Charion is here today. He accompanied them for a short while, however, they made their way to the destination and came across a series of Marines. They were said to be positioned here by Captain Fairburn, but when they tried to radio to him, they didn't get anything back. These were deserters.
Captain Fairburn, come in. Captain Fairburn, come in.
Ambush! Kill them!
Heretics. Varelius was killed in the crossfire and left the three to fight against the horde of traitors. Charion was heavily affected by this and filled with rage. Titus, however, was not happy with the way Charion dealt with this. He was reckless, chose a personal vendetta over his duty to the Emperor, and this did not sit well with Titus. The team found Luz's location, so they fought off the hordes and got him out of this place he was hiding. Here we tell Luz that Nozick is dead and that he is his replacement. We escort him to the Thunderhawk, and off we went back to the battle barge. On board, however, Titus had a conversation with Luz, stating that this artifact is dangerous. Here we learn more around the backstory of Titus. Captain Titus was killed on the Forge world of Graia over a century ago. He died holding a power source in his hand, the artifact. Not even an Astartes could survive the power of this magnitude. They were all shocked to learn about this. So how is Titus still here today? The team made their way to the bridge to meet with Acheron. Still no heretic ships on the scanners, but heretic Astartes are starting to show up on every hive city on Avarax. The Tyranids are enough, but the traitors have caught the Space Marines and the Imperium off guard. The Adeptus Mechanicus mentioned that Project Aurora is ready to go, that the weapon will work. Titus still does not agree, but at this point, maybe they've got no choice. A series of Marines named the Calgar are all on the planet. However, the astropathic relay is unavailable and Voxcoms are not working to let them know about this. Titus, however, reviews this map and identifies the Hive Tyrant. The team need to find out who is blocking the relay and reduce the amount of tyrants on the planet. Off they went with another team to start the mission. There is, of course, tension within the squad. Titus and Gadriel are not seeing eye to eye. Gadriel did some digging and found that Titus was serving over a century ago, captaining the Second Company, but then went missing. However, there were no records within this disappearance. Titus was accused of corruption. He was a Black Shield. His squad mates didn't know of this until now. The team made their way further on into the planet and are currently waiting for the squad Tyrant to take out the hive mind. The team fit thruster packs and prepare. Gadriel is again not happy with them sneaking around whilst their fellow squads are taking out the hive mind. Gadriel thinks that Titus is sneakily working against them, and this is all to do with his past. He's keeping things from the squad, with over a century of records missing. He doesn't massively trust Titus. Gadriel flies off to try and relieve some anger, fighting against the Tyranids, before they make their way to the relay entrance. The squad, however, becomes under serious attack, and when things look bleak, the Viridian squad did it. They killed the Hive Tyrant. The three move on up to the relay, however Gadriel was still not having any of it. He requested the transfer to another squad upon the completion of this mission, in which he will pass the request to Captain Acheron. The squad walks into a room. In the centre, a woman, Neoma. Titus would open his mind to the warp, allowing him to relay the message onto Lord Calgar. This was dangerous due to the current circumstance, however, the request was carried out nonetheless. During this process, Neoma would state the words traitor and heretic and point towards Titus. Titus did not know what she was talking about, stating he wanted to bring Calgar here to kill him, also mentioning Graia and how he betrayed all of his fellow teammates on that planet. Titus not knowing what this woman is talking about, and Gadriel reaching for his gun. Neoma was trying to get Titus killed, with Gadriel being the first, and Charion being very reserved of this. A fight broke out, and a gunshot was fired, but not by neither Gadriel nor Titus, but Charion. However, it was soon found after that this was not Neoma, but this was an impersonator. This was Imurah, the cousin of Titus. Imurah is talking to Titus as they fight, stating that the Emperor lied to them all, that the artifact in the hands of them would be all they needed, that it would show an infinite wonder within. But just as they weakened him, he escaped. Acheron, however, radioed in, stating that the Chaos forces are going after Aurora. But how did Charion know? Well, he was a boy on Kalth where he grew up, when the Word-Bearers attacked. He came to know the Mark of Chaos, and well, it was displayed all too clearly for him. Titus, however, addressed this with Gadriel, saying he understands his actions, but his suspicion of him stops here. All agreed, and back to the battle barge they went. They met with Acheron on the bridge, and there we could see the traitor forces in the hundreds and commandeering a facility. They now have the facility, Luz, and the power source. Acheron has diverted all available forces to Demerium. The enemy are drawing their power from a structure on the planet. Each attempt to bring it down has not worked. Demerium is a burial world. 4,000 years ago, a clash between the Ultramarines and the heretics took place. The Sword of Atreus, a battle barge wrecked in the fighting, was laid to rest there. Records state that whilst its body was ruined, the engines burned bright. It may not fly, but it will ram. They want to ram this barge into this thing in the sky to try and take it down. Chaplin, however, heard of what happened. That Gadriel tried to kill Titus. Titus's squad mates decided to stick up for him at this point, but this has Chaplin very concerned. The team make their way to orbit, however their approach is slightly different this time. This will be jumping out of the ship, using their thruster packs to make their way to the planet's surface, dodging and weaving in between debris, ships and other enemies in the orbit. However, Gadriel takes this opportunity to apologise for his actions on Avarax. Titus, however, retells him of a story when he was first made captain. One of his men questioned his motives, and the men that questioned it pushed it to one side. It cost that man his life, and this time he was right to be concerned, and he forgave Gadriel for exactly this. Charion grew up on Calf, so today he settles the debt. This planet looks absolutely crazy, and the designers did such a good job with this. The artifact changing the look of it completely. The squad fight their way through the hordes of enemies, and along the way Imurah speaks to Titus and Titus only, trying to play tricks on his mind. However, whilst this squad made their way through,
Sword of Atreus lives up to its namesake.
That will buy us time, but we must move swiftly. While the enemy control Aurora, the odds are not in our favor.
and fly it through the artifact in the sky. They did exactly that and destroyed it completely. That will buy them some time, but whilst the enemy controls Aurora, they have a problem. Luz is in the facility trying to use the device, or it could be Imurah. But Imurah is here, waiting for them. He knows of Luz's location, and he knows that the artifact is here. We must get to him as soon as possible before Imurah does. Imurah wants to shatter Aurora, and the Primarch's intentions. He wants to use the artifact to take over. He keeps talking to Titus, telling him that the power he once experienced back in Graia, he could have again if he joined forces with him. Even going to the extent of impersonating Gadriel and Charion in Titus's head, saying that when he gets his hand on the artifact, what will he do with it? Should he try and use it? Trying to cloud Titus's mind. The squad found and caught up with Luz, and he was currently in a force field, and Luz wanted a chance. He was not a bad guy, but it was his life's work. He wanted to show and prove everyone, especially Titus, that this artifact could be used for good and could get rid of the heretics and all of the other Xenos for good. But then in came Imurah. Luz was able to utilize the power of the artifact, and he turned it on. With Aurora active, Luz was saying that Imurah and others like him cannot exist here, allowing them to drive the heretics back into the warp. However, this was not true. Imurah is here, well and truly in the flesh, reducing the force field around the artifact and killing Luz. Imurah now had the device and was going to use it for pure destruction. The team, however, managed to get out relatively unharmed, but all was revealed around the artifact and Luz. The sorcerer Imurah was whispering into our heads, trying to talk us down to a path that was not right. He was doing exactly that to Luz, telling him what would be the end of the heretics, the only way to stop them, telling him that the artifact is the only way to stop the heretics and send them back into the warp. He would make it seem like Luz was making these thoughts on his own, that these were the thoughts going on in Luz's head, taking it as his own inspiration. They killed Nozick, made the Imperium believe that it was going to also happen to Luz, allowing us to deliver him straight to the heretics and trick Luz into finishing the work. This was all one big plan executed perfectly. The pillar that was released swarms the land in corruption. They must find their brothers and other squads. And as they came across them, they moved to a safe house where Acheron is situated. We inform him of the current situation. It is powered by the artifact from Graia. There's a field around the pillar, impenetrable by our ordnance. There are forces that pass through on foot, so that's exactly what the plan is to do. This was a battle, all forces fighting for a common cause and pushing towards the pillar. Acheron also joining us. As we reached it, we raised a banner and fought with everything we got. However, just as we thought it was over, in comes a series of Thunderhawks, one of which carrying Lord Kalgar. He received our transmission.
Lieutenant, I received your message. Brief me.
The central obelisk appears to be the source of their power. It's protected by an energy field.
Give me a solution.
We've hit that shield with everything we've got. Nothing gets through.
My lord! There may be a way.
In the catacombs, Luz said all it took was a transference of alignment. And then he inverted something. An object.
What of it?
It was identical to that obelisk.
Kalgar wanted to know of the solutions that we had, and here, Gadriel made a suggestion. In the catacombs, Luz said all it took was a transference of alignment, one very much like the ones around the planet. The Aurora device might have a weakness, and this is the only way to do it. So we need to essentially find these smaller versions of the artifact and just twist them in a different direction, and it will disrupt whatever's going on. There are 4 in total, and each must be realigned. Titus was about to do exactly this with one of the 4 artifacts, when Gadriel pushed him out of one side, out the way, and did it himself. However, looking up, this did seem to work, firing a green beam at the object.
My lord.
How many more?
3.
You have brothers in mind.
Viridian and Talassa. We will handle the last one.
I'll get them moving. Brief them over the Vox.
Yes, Captain.
As we made our way through to the final artifact, the final 2 were realigned. Then, when the final was completed, they made a push for the object. Here they found Imurah and the beast guarding it. It laid down a force field preventing anything and anyone from moving, but Kalgar somehow broke out of it, and in went Titus, Gadriel, and Charion, just as the portal closed. The team found themselves inside something called the Interrogation. Inside here, we must find Kalgar, but more importantly, Imurah was here. This was time to fight him. With power of the artifact, Imurah controls this domain. However, after a grenade thrown by Gadriel takes down his shield, it shows Kalgar in the abyss still. Imurah's shield was down, so this was the time to fight him until the end. Titus, Gadriel and Charion all fought the beast and got the better of Imurah.
surrounded! Kill as many as you can, brothers! They are mere imitations. All trickery. You are yourselves. Imurah is weak. That last fight will leave him reeling. Stay together. We must... What is that? Some sort of energy. It could be a trap. Remain vigilant. Lord Helga! We shall find out. Lord Calgar!
My words to you on Talasar. Speak them.
My lord!
Speak them, or be slain for an impostor.
Rules should never make a prisoner of intelligence.
Titus, it is good to see you.
Their sorcerer's power wavers. He is vulnerable. See how his domain weakens as he does. There is only one place left for him to hide.
Let us dig out the heretic.
They were all sent to the Abyss, and inside they found Calgar. They ensured this wasn't an illusion, and it wasn't. It was now time to dig out the heretic, and he was inside this energy stream. Titus turned the artifacts inside the energy stream, as they did with the other pieces, and this finally destroyed Imurah.
Brother, it is over. You did it. Brother!
Rise, Titus. Your duty is not yet done.
For the Emperor! For the Emperor!
Lieutenant Demetrian Titus, your decisive actions have saved this system from ruin. And so it is with great pride that I now present you with an honor worthy of your deeds. The Laurels of Victory. Let every warrior of the Adeptus Astartes see that here stands the true measure of a son of Guilliman.
For the glory of Ultramar!
Courage and honor!
Company dismissed.
Forgive me, brother, that it took me so long to bring you home.
My lord, that is...
Fierce was my wrath when I learned of your detention. In their arrogant suspicion, the Inquisition failed to recognize the truth. That no evil will ever overcome a devotion such as yours.
Thank you, my lord.
There is a mission. It will take you away from the Second Company for a time.
As you command, Chapter Master.
The Brother Chaplain will brief you. It was he that suggested you for the task.
My lord, the Sword of Kauth is ready to depart.
Thank you, Captain. My ship will convey you to your destination. I shall be glad of your company.
Titus, it has been an honor.
It has indeed, my captain.
I hear you'll be taking your leave of us. Not for too long, I hope. Emperor guide you.
And you, sir. Brothers, I am called to serve elsewhere.
You'll be missed, my lord.
I will not forget the blood we have drawn together.
Nor shall we.
I owe you both a debt. You have restored my faith in brotherhood.
We shall await your return.
Courage and honor.
Courage and honor.
Titus, Lord Calgar has informed you of your assignment. Good. I will brief you en route.
You are joining us.
I am.
Very good, my lord.
You have done well. You have won the trust of your brothers. And of the Chapter Master. But know this, Titus. The stain of suspicion never completely fades. I will be watching you. Should you falter on the path, for even a moment. I will show no mercy.
Leandros.
My lord, it is time.
But guys, that is everything for Space Marine 2. What a game this was, by the way. I'm very new to the Warhammer 40k universe, and just going through this and playing this game and going through some of the lore, this universe is huge and one that I want to be a part of going forward. So after this video, there's going to be a series of other videos going into the lore of Warhammer 40k, and I'm looking forward to exploring this universe and getting deep into it. But if you did get this far into the video, comment Imurah down below to be entered into a giveaway for a free copy of Warhammer 40k Space Marines 2 on whatever console platform that you desire. So leave it down below, and also let me know what your thoughts and opinions are on this game. Do you like it? Was it worth the money? Is it a good additional entry into the Warhammer 40k lore and universe? For someone that's more veteran and seasoned in this universe than I am, I'd love to know your thoughts and opinions down below. But thank you very much for watching, everyone. I really appreciated it. If you did enjoy, be sure to leave a like, subscribe, and also comment down below Imurah and your thoughts and opinions. I will see you guys next time.